was 275 pounds. Love women's healthcare. The part that I'm like the most nervous to talk about. And this is when I really started seeing like some real changes in my body. Like, no, I'm getting emotional talking about it. You guys have been asking for an entire recap of my fitness journey. So today, that's what we're gonna be getting into. This is definitely the most vulnerable video I've ever made. For those of you that are new here, my name's Leah, and I've gone from this to this, losing over 140 pounds. So let's just dive in. Ugh, I need a shift. That pose was very aesthetic, but not comfortable. All right, when it comes to how I grew up, I didn't really have any issues with my body. Like, I grew up pretty thin, and when I became a teenager, the only thing that I really struggled with is just having lower stomach fat. I was on Tumblr at the time, okay? So I wanted that perfect flat stomach, but overall was pretty happy with the way my body looked. Weight wasn't something that I was really worried about, and the only like health issues I had were I had a really terrible periods. Oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna be getting into some feminine health stuff in this video, so if that icks you out, stop being a no pun intended. But I went on a low dose birth control when I was around 12 or 13 just to help with my absolutely debilitating periods. I'm telling you guys, I was throwing up, I was passing out, it was really bad. But this was pretty much my normal era. And then we get into the health crisis I had. So my first semester of college, I just felt like one day everything changed overnight. Like I was so excited to be in college, and then I just started having severe pain in this area, okay? Really severe pain. Like it hurt to walk. And I lived in Boston. I went to school in Boston, and you know, one of the whole points is that you can walk everywhere and there's so much to do. And I was zooming into my classes. Okay, this was pre-COVID. That was not like a normal thing that people were doing. I had to get like accessibility documentation through my school. I was in doctor's offices like what felt like all the time. And like my boyfriend, my new boyfriend at the time, had to help me literally like go to the bathroom and shower. And it was just like one of the worst things I ever experienced. It was so embarrassing for me at the time. I kept going to doctor after doctor, and every test came back normal, and they would tell me that like it's a good thing. Like, oh, like good news, you didn't test for anything. Like all your results look normal. And I'm like, that's actually the worst news you could ever give me, because I have no idea what's going on and no one's listening to me. And I'm in the city with supposedly some of the best doctors in the world. And like none of them were even taking me seriously. I just felt like literally one doctor prescribed me a neurological medication because they thought it was like, I don't know, I guess like not real, like in my head. Shout out my mom because she threw those meds out with a quickness. And then like, I don't know, this is probably like 7 months into this, I went to another doctor and he suggested trying to get off my birth control. And I was really confused because every doctor's appointment I'd gone to before that, I had brought up my birth control and been like, hey, like, could it be my birth control? And they're like, oh my gosh, no, like it's nothing to do with your birth control. And we don't want you getting off of it because like the last thing you want on top of this is dealing with hormonal issues. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll stay on it. But this guy recommended I try getting off of it. And so I stopped taking it, and wouldn't you know, slowly, I started to feel better. Not overnight. Slowly, it started getting better. But that experience completely changed how I saw my body and my health and my relationship with doctors. Like I still hate going to the doctor to this day, to be honest, because I just had such a terrible experience. Like this was a very condensed version, but this was like 7+ months of my life. And then the pain lasted like over a year, because even after I went off the birth control, it was a very slow process of it getting better. And apparently the birth control, the low dose birth control I was on had the super rare side effect where you could get like extreme dryness, and that is what was causing the pain. So that's awesome. That's great. It's great for me to find out. But my health got even more interesting because coming off the birth control just ended up revealing an underlying issue that I theorized I'd always had. Because I remember when I was going on that birth control when I was 12 or 13, the doctor said I had abnormally high testosterone. And then, I just never thought about that again until we get into the weight gain. I had already gained some weight just from like not being able to like really be active or walk anywhere when I was going through all the issues before. But then the weight just started to like compound and pile on, and I was confused. This was not the freshman 15. Okay. This was something far deeper, and I started gaining and gaining and gaining. And I had never had problems with weight my entire life, guys. Like, and in my teenage years, never had any issues with weight at all. I was not an overeater. Like that is just not something I struggled with. And my mom growing up was like kind of a health nut. So, I don't doubt that there's some weight that was gained from just being a college student and, not having any parental restrictions, but this felt different. this felt really, really different. And like I lost control of my body. So I started working out, started tracking my food, but I was still gaining weight. And when COVID hit, I went and lived back with my mom. And I didn't have access to like any like real like junk food or anything crazy in the house. Like I was eating gluten-free chicken nuggets and salad like, and I was still gaining weight. I didn't know what was going on. I remember at my mom's getting on the scale and seeing I was 275 pounds. And like I said, I remember being around like 165 when I was 18, and I was probably like maybe 20 at this point, maybe 20, but I might have even been 19 at the time. And I was like, oh my goodness, like I've gained over 100 pounds in a year and I'm closer to 300 pounds than I am to 200. And I mean, I just sobbed. Like I just like lost it. I felt so ashamed and so confused and so hopeless. Like, what? I'm not even doing anything. Like I'm not even eating like crazy. Like it felt like I was doing like nothing. It felt like I was doing nothing wrong. And then on top of that, I started dealing with like really bad fatigue. Like I couldn't even get out of bed. I was really struggled to get out of bed. Like I went from being someone that loved to walk everywhere like I do now to not even being able to get out of bed, not having any energy whatsoever. I like had like a lot of like hair growth kind of start on my face, and I was confused about that. Like, I mean, I just felt terrible. I felt terrible. Overall, my energy levels were terrible. I hated how I looked because beyond the weight, I was also growing hair. And I'm Latina. I already had dark hair, but then it's growing on my face and I'm confused. Like, I just like don't understand what's happening. I feel like I was having abdomen cramps at the time and stuff too. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I was devastated. And I was crying every single day. And I went to a doctor, like during COVID, like a Zoom thing with a doctor. And I was telling her, like, I don't know what I'm doing. She told me that I should try exercising. And I was like, okay, like, how am I supposed to exercise? Like, I can't get out of bed. Like, and I felt like everyone thought I was like lying and like making up excuses. And it was so frustrating because here I am, like this really determined person. And I felt like everyone that I talked to, besides like my mom and the people that really knew me, thought I was just like slacking. Like, ugh. Just slacking. My mom actually has endocrine issues, and she reached out to her endocrinologist and was like, hey, listen, my daughter's going through this stuff. We don't know what's going on. Do you have any ideas? And he said, hey, this kind of sounds like PCOS. You should get her looked at. I'm like, what the hell is PCOS? Like, what even is that? And then I look into it, and then I start reading the symptoms, and everything starts kind of like clicking. I'm like, wait, like I have like this rapid weight gain, and I'm tired all the time, and I have the hair growth, and oh my gosh, like, could this be what I'm dealing with? Like, could it be this? Like, oh my God, like maybe it's finally an answer. Like maybe I don't know, I'm getting emotional talking about it because I just remember how I felt. Like maybe it's just finally an answer to like what's going on, because I feel like I'm trying so hard and something's wrong. And so I went to a doctor, I went to an endocrinologist, and they didn't believe me. I said, I feel like I have the symptoms, and they're like, okay, but are your periods irregular? And I was like, I don't really know. Like, I don't track them super closely, so I'm not sure. And they're like, well, then you probably don't have it. And I'm like, guys. And I like begged them. At this point, I'm desperate. I begged them, please, 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 just do an ultrasound. Like, please do an ultrasound just so I can at least rule it out. Like, please. And they were like, ugh, fine. Like, we'll do an ultrasound. And I go and I do an ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech immediately, guys, she puts the thing on me, or I don't know if it was on top or in, I don't remember, but she's looking at the monitor, and immediately she's like, oh yeah, you have PCOS. You have cysts on your ovaries. And I'm like, I love doctors. Like, that's awesome. I love women's healthcare. And then, wouldn't you know it, then the doctor's like, send me a message on like the health app, and they're like, yep, you have PCOS. Okay, like next steps, anything, any suggestions? Nothing, guys. I wasn't until later that I even learned any medications for PCOS, okay? Nothing. I got nothing. They're like, oh, sucks to suck. You got PCOS. And I'm like, okay, at least now I have an answer. So I started seeing a nutritionist, and, that helped. I felt like beyond just like the nutrition stuff, like, I felt like I had someone to talk to, someone who understood and like, could validate that. And she recommended I go to some kind of doctor. I forget what the appointment was for. My nutritionist recommended me to this doctor. I go to the doctor, and she's like, oh girl, like you're not going to lose any of that weight unless you get surgery. Like that's not happening. Like you won't lose the weight unless you get a gastric bypass surgery. And I got off that call, because of course it was a Zoom, it's still COVID times. Oh my God, and I just like cried my eyes out. I'm like, what do you mean I have to get surgery? And I have people in my family who have gotten the surgery and they gained weight back, or it didn't help them. Like I don't want the surgery. Like there's something wrong. Like I don't need again, I don't know everything about gastric bypass surgery because I didn't get it, but Like, I don't want a surgery to make my stomach smaller. Like, there's something wrong. Why is no one listening? Like, there's something wrong with my body. I felt so crazy. And I told my nutritionist was appalled. I was like, I'm never recommending that doctor again. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And like, yeah, I don't know. I just was devastated. Shocker, devastated by seeing a doctor again. I started taking this supplement called Ivositol. If you have PCOS and you haven't tried it, I actually saw some pretty decent success with it. I felt like it did actually help me feel better. And so I took that for a while. And then, I decided like, I have to do something. Like, I have to take control of the situation. Like, I gotta try. So I moved out of my parents' house and I moved to Austin, Texas because I knew I could afford my own place in a walkable area. And I was like, I'm moving. I'm getting out of here. I lived in this like thing that was like basically like a little mall, like an outdoor mall. And there was an Orange Theory like super close to my apartment. I've never taken a workout class before, guys. I've never worked out. My mom has a disability. So when I would go to the gym with her, we would just do the treadmill. And I was like, this is the most boring thing in the world. Okay. So that was all my experience at the gym. And I tried Orange Theory and I just like loved it. I still follow on Instagram my coach from my first class. And I just like loved her. Like I genuinely feel like she changed my life. Like, that was my first class and I felt so welcome. I loved just, moving my body and like, I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe I found something like I can work out and, I'll lock in even more on my nutrition. Like maybe this is something for me. And I was showing up consistently, guys. I was doing Orange Theory, like I started doing like almost every single day. Okay. I got the unlimited monthly pass. I was showing up. I was cooking, I was tracking, and I eventually lost like 50 pounds. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, something's happening. I'm doing something right. Then suddenly the scale stopped moving. I was still doing everything the same and the scale just stopped. And then, when you hit a plateau, it's really easy to just lose motivation. I gained like 20 of the pounds back. I was feeling so upset. I locked in again and I lost that 20 pounds, I think maybe a little bit more. And I ended up plateauing at like 211 pounds. This is why I say, like, I know we say calories in versus calories out, but like if something is not working for you and like you're really locked in and you're tracking and stuff, like please go to a doctor and see if there's something going on like PCOS, because I'm telling you, I was doing everything. And I know that some people, like I see some fitness coaches act like women are liars when they say shit like that. I know my body. I know I was weighing my food, tracking my food, going to the gym, exercising, getting my steps in. Like I was doing everything right and my body wasn't cooperating. And I just felt like, that's it. I'm just stuck here. This is not like a week and I didn't see progress. Like this is like months not seeing progress. Okay. Like I was really, really locked in and trying. And then this is just like honestly mentally like the lowest part of my journey. Well, maybe not the lowest because we've gone through some low moments already, but like this was just really, really tough for me. This is really hard. I luckily had been seeing this amazing gyno. It's the only doctor I ever felt comfortable with, and the only doctor that I actually ever listened to me. And she had PCOS, which is great. Not great for her, but great for me because I'm like, you get it, girl, you get it. And I came to her and I was like, listen, like I don't know what's going on. Like, can we take my hormones? Can we do some testing? And so I remember we did some tests, and she was like, Leah, like you have, this is common with PCOS. You have insulin resistance. And I was like, what the hell is this shit? Like insulin resistance, like, can I catch a break? And actually, if you don't know this, I literally saw this yesterday. PCOS has been renamed, which I am so excited about because we need so much more research. Sorry, I'm typing up because I want to get this right. So PCOS stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it will now be called polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome. I heard the metabolic, I almost cried. Because I'm like, yes, metabolic, I'm not crazy, metabolic. If you don't know what insulin resistance is, I'll read the definition to you. Condition where body cells do not respond effectively to insulin, causing the pancreas to produce excess insulin to manage blood sugar. It often leads to prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, and weight gain. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't know, like it allowed me to have some hope, like again, like just to have a diagnosis, like, okay, like we know what's going on, but now what? And honestly, this is the part that I'm like the most nervous to talk about on video because it feels like everyone has their opinions nowadays, but I also just want to be fully honest. So my gyno said, hey, I really recommend that you try going on a low dose of a GLP-1 for your insulin resistance. And she told me that she had tried it herself and that there are lots of girls in her clinic that had PCOS that had started and had seen relief from these symptoms, and they had felt like their body was functioning normally again. And guys, I would have done anything to get my body functioning normally again. And so I started taking a low dosage of a GLP-1. Now, the reason I don't like to talk about this is not because like I don't want to be honest, but it's because I know a lot of people will see me and just like be like, oh, there it is. There's the thing. She just took a GLP-1 and everything else was easy. Like that's how she got to where she's at. And like I really struggled because I want to be extremely honest, but I hated the idea of people being able to formulate like these opinions about me that like I work so hard. Like I'm in the gym 4 to 5 days a week and I'm weighing every single piece of food I have and I'm hitting my protein intake and like I'm working so hard. And the idea of people being able to just like write off everything like really bothered me. But like this was something that allowed my body to feel like it was functioning normally again. And for me, what it felt like is that my body was finally responding to like all of this effort I had already been putting in. And with where I am now, I still am taking one, but I'm in the process of basically tapering off of it. One thing with insulin resistance is the less body fat that you have, especially in like your abdomen area, it can decrease. And so my hope is that now that I've lost the weight, I'll be able to get off the medication and hopefully not struggle with that as much anymore. And if you're a PCOS girly, don't let me going on the medication also like make you lose hope. Like I said, I did see progress without the medication before. I was able to lose like 50 pounds. And I think that maybe if I at that time had known everything that I know now, I think it would have been very slow. I think I still would have run into a lot of issues, but I don't think it's impossible to make progress without the medication. It's just, unfortunately, a more uphill battle for us PCOS girlies, especially if you're struggling with insulin resistance. But if you're struggling with PCOS, just know that I see you. And God, it's just the worst, isn't it? Like I said, I don't really love to talk about my medical history and everything, but you deserve the full picture of what my fitness journey has looked like. And that's been a part of it. But it didn't just stop there. It's not like I took it and I'm like, oh my God, everything changed overnight. And now it's all rainbows and butterflies. I don't have to put any work in. All right. Because I said, my body's functioning normally now. We're locking in like we've never locked in before. All right. I knew that a lot of people lose muscle mass when they lose a lot of weight. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to be starting to lose the weight, like I need to lock in even harder on building muscle. Orange Theory is not enough. I need to be lifting heavy and I want to build muscle as I lose the fat. I want to do body recomposition the right way. And so now it's not just about tracking calories and, doing an exercise class. Now it becomes about tracking calories, getting enough protein, and lifting heavy. Then we enter my gym era. I start learning to lift. I'm going to learn this shit. Luckily, like I said, I had been dating Irie and he actually had been strength training before we'd even met. And so he took me to the gym with him for the first time. And the first thing he had me do was a barbell squat, which first of all, it's like, are you serious, bro? Like a barbell squat? Like, guys, like, imagine you walk into the gym for the first time and someone's like, we're going to do barbell squats. Here's how to fail a squat. Huh? I still tell him to this day, that's the craziest thing he ever did. I am really, really happy. I feel very lucky that I had him to teach me about machines and lifting and all of that stuff. That was super, super helpful. And I felt super intimidated, guys. I went to the gym that like in Austin, I guess Arnold Schwarzenegger used to train at. So there were hella bodybuilders around me. And I was like, I do not belong here. But I kept showing up. Then, Irie kind of started to lose interest. He's working more. And so he wouldn't go and I wouldn't go. And I'm like, girl, we can't depend on a man. Who are you? Like, it's great to have a gym buddy, but we can't be dependent on the gym buddy. So I said, you know what? I got to go. I got to make it a thing that I go. And when he comes, it's a treat. I started taking ownership. I joined a gym that I really liked. I joined a nice luxury gym. I said, I'm going to invest my money there. I'm going to invest in a gym that I'm excited to go to. And I just started building that independence and I was showing up. I think I would go like almost every day. And for a program, I downloaded a program from an influencer that I was following at the time. If you do want a free program to start out with, I'll link mine in the description too, because it's kind of just, I took all the things that I liked to do and then, added some stuff to hit the other muscles. But, I just kind of customized the program to be what I liked to do. And I started being really consistent there. And I had that really big mindset shift where my focus was not on just getting smaller. I wanted to get strong. I wanted to build that muscle, build that shape as I was losing the weight. And this is when I really started seeing like some real changes in my body, like visually. Like I feel like around 3 months in, I was like, oh wait, I was putting in that work and it was like actually paying off. Like I hadn't felt that way in a long time, like that I was putting in work and it was actually paying off. And then I started like really prioritizing nutrition. I had already been tracking, like I said before, but I don't really like pay that much attention to the macros. Like, so I prioritized eating high protein. I was doing meal preps. I'm like, okay, how can I systematize things to make make it as easy as possible for me to hit my goals, hit my protein. I started meal prepping, looking at meal prep recipes online. I locked in. I mean, you see now, like me going to the gym, my meal prep, like I locked the hell in. And I like aim to reduce that decision fatigue. Like, how can I make it so it's as easy as possible for me to go to the gym? Oh, I lay out my clothes the night before. How can I make it as easy as possible for me to hit my nutrition goals? I meal prep the exact macros I want to hit. And I just like worked on developing these small habits that compounded over time. If you haven't read Atomic Habits and you want a book to read, that book, I swear, altered my brain chemistry and was a huge help on this journey. I'll link that below too if you guys are interested in checking it out, but you can probably get it anywhere. But yeah, I would say like I just had this huge emotional shift. Like I'm going to the gym and I felt better, like less like brain fog, and you know, my energy levels started going up and started focusing on what can I do? What are the actions that I can take to bring me to my goals? Like enough sulking and more acting. So where am I now? I'm 25 years old. I'm around 140 pounds down, and I'm no longer focused on just losing weight. I have stopped eating at a calorie deficit. I'm eating my maintenance now, and I'm even considering going on a lean bulk, even though the idea of gaining weight intentionally is a little bit scary to me. I even think psychologically, I just kind of want to do it, but using that to kind of focus more on building muscle. Like I just want to build muscle. There are girls that are 30 pounds heavier than me that look leaner than me because they got hella muscle and they look great. And that's what I want to focus on, just building as much muscle as possible to get to where I want to be. I know this is a long video, but I really wanted to be honest, put my whole story out there. Like I said, I want you guys to get the full picture. All of the comments and stuff that you guys leave me, like make me feel like, you know, it was worth me suffering, putting myself out here in a vulnerable way that I wouldn't really normally like to. Because if I can, you know, be someone that you can look to and you know is going to be honest and straight up about everything that they went through, I want to be that for you guys. If you're interested in more brutally honest fitness and lifestyle content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. You can follow me over on my Instagram for daily content. I'll be posting short form and all over my stories all at the time. If you have any questions about my journey, feel free to comment them below and feel free to share any of your experiences. If any of this resonated with you, I would love to read it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you next week. Bye. The anxiety I had filming that is so crazy, but you know, it's worth it. It's worth it.